This is Sam Cosentino, and you are listening to the Sheriff Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to an exclusive episode of The Sheriff. Guys, tonight I am blessed with the guy that I am most impressed with than all my guests currently on the show. Now, this gentleman is named the most prominent tough guy of the 1990s. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that was the toughest era in professional hockey. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Killer Kevin Kaminski. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good, Sheriff. Yourself?
I'm doing awesome, man, because I see you on the screen. I've wanted you on the show for a long time, and the reason is, Killer, is because my show, I just try to get the biggest characters, the biggest go-getters, leaders, pretty much icons. That's what I go for. I try to reach for the top. And I'll tell you one thing that's a little bit funny. Now, I was born in 1982. Okay, so I was somewhat young, like in your prime, right? I watched you quite a bit. I always got drawn to the fights and stuff just because I was always interested in that since I was a little kid. I used to get really excited, man, when an NHL fight, AHL fight would break out. And
Sure.
I've seen you in action, man. I know you must have had a battle or two against Buffalo because I watched a lot of Toronto Buffalo games. And guys like Rick Jenneret and Kaminski with another right. And I'm growing up listening to this. And dude, when I did my research, I saw your size and weight, your height and weight, Killer. And like, I don't want to get you mad, dude, because you're one tough SOB, right? But dude,
Just when I got the blades on.
hey man, as a kid, I thought you were like 6'5", 260 pounds. When I was doing my research, I'm thinking, because I'm 6'4", 220, 225 in my playing days, right, buddy? I'm thinking that this guy's probably like, maybe a little bit bigger than me. Bro, Hockey DB has you as 5'9". Other places have you 5'10", 170 pounds, Killer. Is that true?
Well, the 5'9" part is I'm still 5'9".
Okay.
But I played about 185, 190, usually 190.
Okay, so 5'9", 190 pounds, Killer. Now, dude, okay, so you obviously have done it like at higher levels than me, but we both done the job, okay? What's the average size of an enforcer in your era? I'm 6'4", 225. Would that be kind of close to the guys?
I was going to say probably 6'3", 6'4".
Okay, so the average guy that you're in combat, this is a war for 30 seconds, sometimes over a minute, depending on how much endurance guys had. So the average partner, 6'3", 6'4", 220, right? NHL,
Yep.
AHL. Man, so the reason why I'm bringing that point up, because I want the listeners to understand the character that I'm dealing with here, okay? Now, this is a gentleman that's able to, like, I couldn't even, I kept saying to my mom, I know I mentioned a couple times, I do my show for my mother's house. When I'm doing my research, Killer, I kept mentioning to a mom, I can't believe this guy was able to do the work that you put in. Like, I know what it takes to get a 400 penalty minute season, Killer. You did that in the IHL when it was pretty much what the AHL is now, and it was the toughest era in hockey. I know what it takes to get 400 minutes, and I could only imagine the monsters that you had to go up against consistently, night after night. That takes a big character. I want to talk about Churchbridge, Saskatchewan. I want to talk about the young Killer, the young Kevin Kaminski. Now, if that was your birthplace, right, Kev?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Okay, so now you grew
just
up.
got back there from visiting Dad for Christmas. So.
Did you? So you were there for the Christmas break?
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. Now, how far does your dad live from that rink that was named after you, my friend, that I learned today?
Oh, God, maybe about 5 blocks.
Wow. So when was that? When did they build the rink and when did they name it after you?
I think the rink was born or was made in 1967, and it was, I think, 3 years ago. Well, actually, so what my team, the Orange Ice Wolves, we could play two neutral site games, and
Oh
we ended
yeah.
up one of the Carter Pryor from my hometown. He got called me and said, "Hey, would you like to do a neutral site game in Churchbridge?" And I said, "Let me take it to the board." I said, "I would love that." So we did that, and then I had no clue what was going on. Like, I even before the game, I even asked to read a program. I wanted to see, because he did an unbelievable job of sponsorships. So I
Okay.
just wanted to see who all was sponsored. And on the front of it, it says, "Welcome to Kaminski Arena." And I never even seen that on the front. I just went right to the sponsors. So then before the game, they called me out on the ice, and they said a few things. And like I said, I still have my charity golf tournament for my hometown.
Yeah.
And it's raised over, I guess, well, 400 I think it's like $456,000 for the community. So
Wow.
it goes back to the rink, the curling rink. They built brand new pool, which we helped out with. They built a sports thing, like, for I
So it's
guess,
like a rec center
yeah, a
and
little.
a rink.
Well, it's outside, but so they can go play street hockey,
Yeah.
or hockey, skate on it, whatever. Then they built like a skating board uh, apparatus kind of stuff for them. Like, yeah, we just kind of just whatever the money goes, we donate it right back to the school or to the community.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty impressive. So I'm glad that you brought that up because I want to pick your brain a little bit more about your golf tournament and whatnot. Dude, so Churchbridge, I wanted to talk a little bit about your family, Killer, because I just find that the bigger characters that I have on my show, like yourself, that they were really like formed in their childhood. They were able to become this character, and now it's just grown and grown and blossomed into what it is today, right? So I want to talk about your family. I want to talk about school. What was a young Kevin like? First of all, what about siblings and mom and dad?
Yeah, well, mom's actually been gone for about 12 years.
Okay, God bless her soul.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I do miss her pierogies and cabbage rolls and all that, but so we have to get it from someone else when I do go back home. But no, dad, dad was he worked for the town, then he worked for the potash mine about 15 minutes away. Um, my brother, he could have played hockey, but he didn't have the passion for it. He was a lefty. He was tough, and he had unbelievable hands. But he's been a school teacher, I think, for 30 years. I think he's going to retire after next year.
Right
Uh,
on.
then my sister, a younger sister, lives in Winnipeg now. So the family growing up, I mean, it was for me. I wasn't a big school person. I just wanted to
Yeah.
play. I just wanted to play sports. That's all I wanted to do. Like I said, I track and field I was really good at. Volleyball I was really good at. I made Team Sask. We actually won that with the team. It was held in Yorkton, a half an hour from my hometown.
For what
Uh,
sport, Killer? For what sport was that?
Volleyball.
For volleyball. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we baseball. I had an opportunity to a tryout with the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I made Team Sask
Come
in
on.
hockey and that summer, so that kind of went out the window. I did have a tryout with the Portland Sea Dogs after we won the Calder Cup in 93, 94 in Portland, Maine there. So
What level is that?
that was
Is it double A, triple A, single A?
I think it was AAA at the time. It was
Triple A?
I'm pretty sure I now, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
I
I know
mean,
that's awesome.
but I know, like I said, some of those guys would get called up to the Florida Marlins.
Yeah.
So yeah, baseball. But I mean, hockey was my real passion. And baseball. I mean, we won I don't know how many provincial championships here in Saskatchewan, and same as hockey. And but hockey, that was my sport. That was the passion I had for it. I think obviously you could do both, right? You could be finesse, you could score, you could set up plays, but also you could do the other part of the game, which I probably loved a little too much. Yeah.
Of course. Now, so your father that you mentioned, he sounds like he is like a really hard worker. Like he was grinding it out, like right? That he's a hard worker. Would you like a blue collar? Would you say
for
that?
sure.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
So
100%.
so do you think that you got that from him then? Like he must have been a key figure in this character building for you, Killer man. Like it's just like I'm trying to figure out where this came from. How was this killer developed, man? And I think your dad probably had a big part of that, didn't he?
No, for sure. And I think was in saying that too. I think I got the toughness from mom. I mean, she, you know what? She was, I mean, she did
Tough cookie?
so much for different people and always doing charity stuff. But she was one tough cookie, man. She went through a lot, but she was, you know what? She never complained at all. Never complained at all. But yeah, no, dad. Like I said, dad was, you know, he coached me or my brother, whatever years. He was, like I said, he was a hardworking family guy that, you know, that taught us ball and taught us hockey and everything else. And obviously, I think I think I could say I both got work ethics from mom and dad as well.
Nice, buddy. How far did your brother make it? Like, how far did he go? Did he make it to juniors?
You know what? He actually, so here's a story. There's a kind of cool little story. I don't know if it's for him or not, but he was on the Saskatoon Blades list.
Oh, wow.
So, and there was a scout, Huey Scobie, which he passed away, I think about 3 years, maybe more now. He was a big mentor to me. And so when I turned 14, and like I said, they didn't have the draft back in the dub or whatever, you could just get
That's
protected, right?
Yeah.
So as a 14-year-old, you would take 2 spots. So so when they decided to put me on, and this was the words from my scout, Huey Scobie. He says, "Okay, you little bastard," he says, "we're gonna put you on the list, but we're gonna put you in pencil because I can erase you just as quick as I put you on." you know, so when I took 2 spots, obviously I took off my brother as 1 spot.
Oh, okay.
So, but then he went on. Actually, he went to Calgary Wranglers camp. Actually, he made Calgary Wranglers, but again, he didn't have the passion for hockey.
Yeah.
So he became a school teacher, and now he's ready to retire. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny how it works, Killer. Like obviously teaching was his calling, right? Like he stuck with it for that long, right? So just like he stuck with hockey. Now that you're coaching, which I can't wait to get into as well. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's a pretty cool story. You're absolutely right. Now it's funny that we're talking about the Blades because that's exactly where I wanted to go next. I wanted to talk about your career with the Saskatchewan Blades, right? And dude, like, you know, I'm a stat guy. So when I was looking at like the hockey DB and stuff, and I was looking, you know, the amount of years that you played there. So yeah, 14, you played, right? 14, 15, you played those seasons with the Blades.
Well,
that's pretty impressive.
Well, I only played 5 games when I was 15.
I see. Yeah.
From AAA Midget Blazers, and then I played 4 games the next year, and then actually I could have. I made Blades at 16, but I said I wanted to go back and get my schooling. Okay. And also to win the scoring race, because as a 15-year-old in AAA, I lost the scoring race by 2 points. So I ended up winning the scoring race, getting MVP of the league as well. Did you? And then I played, you know, had the 3 years with the Blades after that.
Yeah, dude. And let's talk about these 3 years, Kevin. Like, I can't get over this. So, okay, so the first year, over a point per game, 70 points in 67 games, okay? 26 goals, right? But, dude, 325 penalty minutes. Now, I know in junior they're throwing out 10s, but I also know that there's a 3-fight rule in Major Junior. You could fight 3 times before you're tossed, which is more than pro now. And it's very interesting how that works. And it's still to this day, I believe, isn't it?
No,
In Major Junior, I know they made a bunch of fighting change rules.
Yeah, no, it's I believe it's all changed now. So
Okay.
I think it's like one fight and I think you're done the game.
Yes, and what they also did is I know in the OHL killer that once you get to 5 fighting majors, then you get suspended or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's in our league too.
Okay, so but prior to that, those changes, they were allowing 3 fights in Major Junior. Okay, so I know that you put in the work that first year with that 325. I know that you did, and I'm very impressed. But now, the second year, I believe this was your draft year. This year, 100 points, 99 points in Major Junior, 100-point season. No, I know.
Yeah,
but it's a 100-point season, though, Killer. Not too many people can say that. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm like, man, this guy's a player. He's a player, a very good one at that, right? So, I mean, you almost cracked 40 goals too that season, made with the 38 goals. Now, that was your draft year. Where was your draft?
You know what? That was a good question.
Do you remember?
I believe it was in Montreal, but I didn't go.
You didn't go to it. And the reason for that, is it because you weren't rated in the first couple rounds? Because that was the rule that my agent had.
Yeah, because I could only go in the first 3 rounds.
Okay.
And I still don't. And I think Joe Lazita, who I'm sure you know, has the Coliseum Chronicles podcast there. I think he told me it, but I forgot again. The brain doesn't work too good anymore. But yeah, I could go only in the first 3 rounds. So my agent, Donnie Meehan, said, well, if we didn't have this rule, you would probably go, but I don't think you're going to go in the first 3 rounds. So I stayed home back in Saskatoon, and I was playing. Actually, went from baseball to fastball with my billet. And so we were playing a tournament in Regina. And we had drove up. I think we had like 11 o'clock game or something. And we played our game, sat around in the parking lot for a little bit. And then we decided to go for lunch and go check into the hotel. And so Big Brian Glenn turns the radio on. And now the draft, he said, now drafted from the WHL. First round, second round, and now from your Saskatoon Blades, 38th overall to the Minnesota North Stars, Kevin Kaminski. And I kind of shocked, and Big Brian Glenn turned around and punched me, and he says, "Killer, you just got drafted." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I did." Yeah. So that's how I found out how I got drafted. So.
Wow, man, it's interesting how you're finding out about how you got drafted, the way that you found out about the arena. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty cool. So did you end up having like a draft party or anything at the house? Like what did the community think of you getting drafted?
Well, no, we didn't have a draft party or anything. But no, I think obviously I think there was a lot of happy people in Churchbridge, knowing that my buddies and all that. Even like I said, I kind of got along with everybody in town. And, like I said, even till this day, like I got buddies that stay in touch with, and my head scout now with the LaRange Ice Wolves is from my hometown. So, all those guys, even though they're a little bit older, I mean, I was playing senior ball at 14 with those guys. So, I mean, it's, like I said, they were all happy, and and then it said it just proceeded on to we'll get into the golf tournament later, just that everyone was, it was unbelievable how it still gets so much support over however many years since I retired.
So now it's cool that you got drafted to Minnesota. A lot of guys never even get to play one game with the team they're drafted by because they're traded before they get to the NHL and blah blah blah. At least you got to play. It was one game that you played with the North Stars before the trade to the Nordiques, right?
Correct.
Yes. So you get to play the game with the North Stars. You get that feeling of representing Minnesota. Minnesota is a huge hockey city in the United States. And at the collegiate levels, and you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's a really big deal. So I thought that was really cool that you got to experience that. Now, the Quebec Nordiques, man, I'd really like to talk about that because I have had a chance to live in Quebec City for a few years, and I know the passion that those people have for hockey, all the outdoor rinks, all that kind of stuff. Now, every year, Quebec would give you a sniff, right? You were up there. You spent enough time up there to get to know every guy in the team. Trust me, you had your time there. But it wasn't really till Washington that you really got a shot, though, right? Like they were giving you sniffs. You were terrorizing the other leagues, killer, right? And we're going to get into that because it was really when you got to Halifax that you really, I think, really backed up your nickname, the killer, right? Like, dude, the consistency that you did in Halifax, the games that you played almost the whole season. You were having, I think it was a point per game, killer, that you were having. Man, you got 64 points in 79 games. You got 45 points in 63 games. 60, you know what I mean? Like you were almost getting a point per game at that level while absolutely terrorizing the league. You know, you're getting 300 plus penalty minute seasons. Man, like so because of the consistency and because of the productivity that you got there, I wanted to talk about your situation in Halifax. You must have been comfortable where you lived. I know what it's like for a player when you have everything kind of working out for you. You know, the significant others beside you. You live in a nice place. You got a good bunch of guys. Everything's working out. You play well. You do well in your fights. Look good, feel good, play good. Right, Killer?
Oh, correct. Yeah, no, and I'll just, you know what, actually, so my one game with Minnesota, which I thought was cool, you know, as a kid growing up, you watch Hockey Night in Canada, you either get Montreal or Toronto, right? And,
yeah.
You know, I just remember watching those games, like you see all those banners and hanging up in the rafters in Montreal. And that's where I got to play my very first game, you know, in the NHL with the Minnesota North Stars. So it was,
Really?
Yeah, it was absolutely a thrill, you know.
In Montreal?
Yes. At the
Wow.
old Forum. At the old Forum.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. So
first NHL game.
And I was, you know what, it was kind of cool because I was in Ken Dryden's home game book, and they kind of featured about hockey in Saskatchewan, the small rinks and all that stuff, and then they kind of did the feature on me where I made Minnesota, but he's trying to scrap and claw back up to the NHL, and so that was kind of pretty cool too, knowing that play your first game, you get to see Ken Dryden win all these Stanley Cups, and now he's doing, you know, I'm in his book all of a sudden. So,
oh man,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's super cool, man. That's a big treat to be able to see that, right? So, okay, well, you know, and definitely thanks for sharing that. So now let's get right at it, man. What was your situation like in Halifax?
You know what? So this is, you know what? It was kind of my first year. So I went to in training camp in Quebec. I went to hit Adam Foote, and he seen me at the last second, and we hit hard. So I fractured my sternum.
No way.
And I popped out, blew up my shoulder. Right. So I tell you what, I was in a hotel room by myself, man. Only time I would get out of the bed was go to the bathroom or answer the door for room service. I tell you what, I sneezed or if I coughed or whatever, man, I was in so much pain. That fractured sternum was freaking unbearable. But anyway, so I went for a second opinion in Toronto. I didn't need surgery. So I went back to Saskatoon to let it heal up. And then I came back to Halifax, and actually I ended up, I moved in with a few of the guys, and I was just sleeping on the couch because I think I only played, you know, it was towards the end of the season. I think I came back February something, whatever it was, middle of February. But so I was just living on the couch at the time. So that was kind of my first year. And then, you know what, I think I got called up for one game, and they called me in after the game, and they said, you know, we're going to send you back down. We don't want you around this atmosphere. And I'm like, I think you need me around this atmosphere. I just went out and fought and did whatever, you know. And but anyway, so I went back to Halifax, finished the season off, and then the next year I think I played 7 games in Halifax, and I got sent to they sent I think about 7 or 8 of us to Fort Wayne.
Now, okay, I need to talk to you about Fort Wayne, my friend. I saw that year in Fort Wayne. I saw that year in Fort Wayne, Killer. So I got to let the listeners know before you tell any stories about Fort Wayne, what you did in Fort Wayne statistically. Okay? Fort Wayne Comets. In 56 games, ladies and gentlemen, this man not only would average a point every other game with 24 points on the season, but this man had 455 penalty minutes. Now, I'm trying to think of what you must have done, and I'm thinking like you must have had at least 30 majors. You had 35 majors.
45.
45 majors. Okay.
Yeah, in 56.
Man, okay, so now you can talk about any stories to do with Fort Wayne, buddy. I had to get the listeners to understand how big of a season this was for the Killer Kaminski.
Yeah, well, you know what? I wasn't sure. You know what was cool about Fort Wayne is that you know, Bruce Boudreau was playing. He was like our Reg Dunlop. He was a player assistant coach, and I think he put up like 116 points that year. We had John Anderson, who played
No
for
way.
Toronto and
Yeah.
Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, we had a hell of a team. Obviously, we went to the finals against Peoria. We lost in 6 games, but I tell you what, that was probably, man, one of the most funnest years of hockey. We just had a team that did everything together, and we won. And we, you know, like I said, we were like everyone was a warrior, man. We went to war for each other, but we had a lot of fun doing it too. And it was just, I tell you what, like so. Anyway, and then I tell you, we were getting sellout crowds towards the end of the year in playoffs. It was
Really?
And the jungle, which we came out to, right? Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you what, man, that we had that barn rocking, and I think we set. You know, I think that obviously they went on to win. I don't know how many championships. I think they won a year or 2 later as well.
You guys set the tone, though. You guys set that fan base, that support, the excitement.
Yeah, no, it was, like we had everything. Like Lonnie Loach, I think, was our leading goal scorer. Scotty Gruel. I mean, we had. Well, then you had Mike Butters. We had Steve Fletcher, Corrales, and Robin Bawa. We just had a bunch of guys that you know what, that could play, but also handle the other situations as well, man. We, like I said, we had everything, and we had that place rocking. I'll tell you that.
So that's a perfect example then, Killer, of what I was talking about when everything works out. Like look at the productivity that you had, man. You had 25 points in 56 games. So that means that you were on the scoreboard every other game on average, while getting 455 with the 45 majors. Like that is like how you were able to get through all that. Like, I know that you got hurt that year, but you weren't injured where you couldn't play. That's a blessing that you got through that. And it seemed like when everything works out, you're able to produce a little bit better. That's how it was for me. And it looks like that's how it was for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I remember the one game, you know, I was putting up some good points, and Bruce Boudreau came over to me and he says, Killer, I just want to, you know, let you know, and I'll never forget it. He says that, man, you're playing some great hockey. You're our best forward right now. So just, you know what, keep doing what you're doing. So you know what, like I said, it's sometimes as you know, I don't know. I just love to do it. I wasn't a heavyweight or anything like that, but I wasn't going to back down from anybody. I love that part of the game. And you know what, like I said, sometimes you don't get enough recognition when you're putting up those points. All people see is the penalty minutes, and
Yeah.
a lot of people to this day just think that that's all I did. And
No, man, this is no. You're 100-point guy in Major Junior, and man, you're like these numbers. Like, okay, the 92-93 season for Halifax. Okay, you were a 30 goal man. You had 27 goals, 64 points in 79 games. Now, 64 points, that would lead most teams. You know what I mean? Like when I played in the AHL, you know, the leaders, 64 points, 65, 70, like sometimes high 50s could lead a team. So you did every role, it seemed. Like did you earn yourself on the power play on most of these teams?
I did, yes. I did.
Okay, so you're a power play guy. You're on the first, like, and for men, 64 points. You must have been on the top line, Killer.
No, I was
Right?
never
Really?
on the top line. Never on
64, but how would you get 64 points not being on that first line?
Well, just, like I said, I you know what, I did play a lot of power play.
Yeah.
Unit, and but you know what, like I said, I didn't complain. I just did whatever the coaches put me on. That's what I did. If they wanted me net front, I'm going to park myself net front, and that's what I did in Portland with the Pirates that one year. I mean, you had Jeff Nelson, Michel Picard, Michael Boback. I mean, you had those guys on a power play. Then we had a second unit where they just got it up to the top, and Chris Jensen just threw muffins, and I would tip and score and, get the rebounds, all that stuff. That's, like I said, Portland, I was over a point a game as well,
That's right. Yeah, man. You really put the work in Portland, man. Yeah, man. 35 points in 34 games, man. 15 goals. It's so impressive. Like, it's so impressive, Killer. Like, we're talking pretty much close to a point per game guy, in pro. When you got the sniff with Quebec, you still put up points. Like, when you were given opportunity, you were on the scoreboard. Even if it was just a 7-game season, you're still putting up 4 or 5 points in the NHL. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Like you did it. One thing that slipped me when we were talking about the Blades was the Memorial Cup runs, right? And I wanted to ask you what it was like in the Mem Cup when, you got to be the toughest guy in the WHL, toughest guy. And you're looking across at the toughest guy in the Ontario Hockey League. You're in the Memorial Cup. Was there a lot of nerves before that game, like against Mr. Ty Domi?
Yeah, I think there was. I mean, obviously, you heard a lot of stories about how tough Ty was and all that stuff, And I didn't say anything to anybody. I just knew I was going to fight him. That was the bottom line. I mean,
Where was that? Where was that Mem Cup?
That was in Saskatoon.
No way.
In
Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Wow. So
to this day though, like when I still go back to Saskatoon, I mean, obviously I've been here a little bit, for 3 years now. But when I used to come back and after pro, whatever, a lot of people, that's all they talked about. And they still do today. They always ask me about the Ty Domi fight.
Domi fight.
At Mem Cup. So it's, you know what? I mean, it was a good tilt and, we went at her hard. I mean, you can't hurt Ty anyway. So
no, I know. It's impossible. And like, I know that you were probably you've been asked about that, but Killer, like, I mean, okay, this is what I'm interested in is just like the build up to it, because I mean, you know how they have the interleague play now in Major Junior. So, I mean, my last year in the OHL, I mean, I was 19 years old. I was given that title too. Oh, yeah, McMorrow's the toughest guy in the O this year. Man, we had some inter-squad games against Quebec teams from the Quebec Major Junior League. And there was a gentleman named Hunter Lahache that was supposed to be the toughest guy in the Quebec League. And we fought. Games were televised because it was interleague play. And I just remember my nerves before that. Man, this is the toughest guy in that league. Ty Domi stories must have been rocking, man, because he made a lot of noise in junior. And you know the type of personality that he has. and it's
Right.
Memorial Cup playoff time, packed barn. Come
Sell
on,
us,
Killer.
Yeah. Well, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, like I said, it was a great tilt. I think I outpunched them 27-14. Didn't put a mark
Oh
on
yeah,
the fight, but
I
I
seen
mean,
the fight. I seen the fight. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You guys
Yeah.
now. Sorry, go ahead, Killer. Go ahead.
No, and you know what's the crazy thing is 2013 Saskatoon hosted it again, right? So I went back for that. They flew in all the 1989 Memorial Cup team, and so
Wow.
Ty's boy Max was playing with London, right? So
Max
I got,
Stoney, yeah.
yeah. So it was funny because after I think it was the first game, we were at Hudson's, a pub downtown, and I'm standing there talking with my cousin and his girlfriend, and all of a sudden my old roommate Dean Holline comes up to me and says, "Killer, look who I found!" And it was Ty Domi. So we talked. I mean, we hung out, every night that night at Memorial Cup, and you know what? We still talk to this day. I'll call him up and chat, see how he's doing, and he's a great dude, man. He's so it's kind of neat how all that full circle, however many years later, 1989 to 2013, and then now you're hanging with him every night and shooting the shit and having fun.
Yeah, man. So not only did you get to see Dale and Mark Hunter, but you got to see Mr. Ty Domi going to that Mem Cup stuff, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And like I'm gonna get into Dale a little bit later. Actually, we could get into it right now. Like I know that you spent obviously a lot of time in Washington, and that's like I'll be honest with you, man. When I think of Killer, like I was a big fan of yours. That breathe stripe, what is it? Breathe right stripe. How long did you use that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I didn't use it very long. I was hoping I could get a endorsement out of it.
No, but honestly though, Killer, how long did you use that? Honestly, like estimation.
I think probably just that year.
Okay, so one season?
Well, just actually, you know what? It probably would have been just for. I think it was up for like 2 months or whatever. So probably
really
just for
Man, I wonder why that sticks it with me so much.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few pictures out there with it on. So
that's what it is. Then it's all the kind of the advertisement for it, the pictures of it. Yeah, because I've seen so many of those. I assume that you wore that for longer in your career.
Yeah, no, and
our poster has it.
It was
for this show.
It was just that's right. It was just I think it was when it first came out. Thought I'd try it, and I don't know. Just like I said, I was hoping to get an endorsement and never did. But
man, they should have, man. Yeah. That's it. Killer is known for that stripe. Breathe right.
Because Dale Hunter got hurt that year. That's when I got called up to Washington, and I think I had even my time up there with Washington. I think I had 5 assists in 10 games.
Yeah.
So
the first time you played. Yeah. Before, exactly.
So I mean, but Huntsy, I tell you what, Huntsy's a character, man. Freaking, I love that guy. He's a warrior, and he did it all too. You know what?
Yeah. Yes, he did. And the reason why,
numbers,
Yeah, for sure. The reason why I wanted to talk to you about Dale is just because Dale doesn't do a lot of media stuff. Dale doesn't do podcasts. His buddies ask him all the time because he knows everybody in hockey, right? And they all get mad at him. It's just something. It's not everybody's thing. But I wanted to talk about your experience with Dale because, like I said, man, this show is about characters, go-getters, big deals, man. And Dale Hunter is he must be unique from any player that you've ever played for.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was a great leader. He spoke up when he needed to, but I think he led by example. I know his name got a little tarnished there with the situation, but you know what? That happens. That's hockey. You wish it wouldn't happen, but it's an emotional game. I mean,
heat of the moment. Yeah. When you got that much passion, sometimes it's going to go overboard, right?
Right. No, for sure. And I think it's happened to most of us. But But Dale, I tell you what, he worked his ass off, and it was good to follow his lead, and also Craig Berube, who, was my line mate, and
Chief?
the Chief, man, I tell you what, those two would fricking get on the bike, ride the bike before practice. So I jumped on with them too. And I can't say I did it all the time, but most of the time I got on there and just rode hard before practice. And it just, you know what, you can still learn to be a pro in different situations to make yourself better,
Yeah. Dale talked about Chief all the time, Craig Berube. I remember that. He would tell so many stories. Like, I don't know if he would just say it in front of me because that was my role on the London Knights, right? But he'd be like, Chief this, Chief that. And so that's really cool to hear these stories, man. Like your playing days, because I mean these guys are legends, man, that you played with, right? As are you, but like I'm just saying, these guys like Berube, Hunter, right?
Yep. I tell you what, they're, like I said, they're warriors, they're characters. They love the game. They do whatever it takes for their teammates. Like you said, it was so fun to have to play with those guys and see how they, what they did to make themselves better. And obviously they're both tough as nails and just like I said, just full of character,
Now, another thing that, I was talking to you about the Breathe Right stripe, obviously, because I don't know if it was when I first started watching the NHL, like as a youngster, but like, Washington Capitals, Kevin Killer Kaminski, like that, like I just remember all the action. I remember thinking that you were a giant killer, that you were just this giant man, just dominating.
I thought I was a mental giant, man.
Yeah, yeah. But another thing that because I played, man, I know that there was some teams that you look at the schedule, killer, and you're just like, oh man, I gotta play Kaminski tomorrow. Jesus, I got a sore shoulder, man. He's gonna want to go for sure. Jeez, you know what I mean? That used to be the mindset. Players don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right,
It's not like that anymore, right?
Right.
Not like that anymore. A lot of those components have left. Like it used to be about rivalries. It used to be about what happened the last game. Oh, are they gonna dress him, and him? Are they gonna start their tough guys? Do you remember games like that, Killer?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Starting the game?
Yeah.
Right? What about that year in Fort Wayne? Is there any like starting the game moments in Fort Wayne? 500 PIM season?
Oh gosh,
Probably a bunch of them all like intertwined, eh?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we did start with me, Bawa, Fletcher, Mike Butters on the point, Tommy Corrales on the point as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're ready to roll. I mean,
Bruce could chuck them too, though, right?
What's that?
Could Bruce chuck them too, Boudreaux?
You know what? I don't know if he might have had one fight, but I think he could. But like I said, I don't think he had to that year because of what was in the lineup. So
yeah, no, I'm glad that you brought up Bruce because I had the opportunity to go to this sports conference, Primetime Sports and Entertainment, that's put on by Brian Burke and Trevor Whiffen and Patrice Whiffen. And man, I got to meet so many people. I got to meet Berkey, got to meet Bruce Boudreaux. He was like a keynote speaker, right? And I'm getting introduced to Bruce, right? I was even sitting in his seat. When he came to his seat, I had to get up because it was his seat, right? It said Bruce Boudreaux. Excuse me. And then a couple of weeks later, he gets hired by the Vancouver Canucks. And I'm like, man, that's so cool to have been able to meet this man.
I'll tell you what, Gabby is hilarious. You wouldn't think he's a hockey player back then, but I tell you what, that guy had unbelievable hockey IQ and unbelievable passer. And I tell you what, he had a hard shot, but not like heavy, but I tell you what, he could pick the corners, man. He was fun to watch,
man.
But Gabby makes me laugh because I remember a few times when he come on the bus to get wherever we're going, to Indianapolis or somewhere, 2 or 3 hours away, and he must have just got done lunch, and I think his pregame was hot dogs because he had mustard and ketchup still on his tie. And oh my gosh, that was sitting pretty close, like from the coaches, from the first few seats, So I would just sit there and mustard and ketchup on his tie. I would just laugh, and you know what? There's our captain, Reg Dunlop. Reg Dunlop.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. So yeah, and so this playoff run with Fort Wayne. Tell me about that. Cause I was looking at that, like I was looking at the 19 games, the 169 penalty minutes in the playoffs. Mr. Kaminski.
Still a record.
Is it a record?
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, wait a second, like 169 is a lot of penalty minutes for an 80-game season, right? I'm like, this man, I mean, 20 games, 19 games is a lot of games to play in the playoffs, but you're getting league-leading whole season numbers in the playoffs. I thought that was interesting. Did you guys win it that year, or you guys got to the finals?
Got to the finals, yeah. We lost to Peoria in 6 games. Actually, I'll tell you another little story. We were down 3-0, and we were playing the 4th game in Fort Wayne, and Johnny Anderson had a big calcium deposit on his on his leg, so
yeah.
So he hadn't played for like a couple months or whatever, right? So he says, "Screw it, I'm playing this last game." So he plays with no bucket. And he scores a hat trick in the first 2 periods. Then he couldn't even walk. And we win the game. We go back to Peoria. We make it 3-2. Then we come back to Fort Wayne, and I think they beat us. I don't know what it was, 5-3 or something, or 6-3. But I tell you what, that story was absolutely phenomenal. And I think I still got it on my Facebook timeline that I posted.
No bucket?
No bucket, man. Well, he wore a Jopa, during the time, but that game he didn't wear no bucket. And actually, I've got a picture of me and him hugging after he scored one of his goals with no bucket.
Oh man.
yeah. I was just like, again, you just old school. Like
no, this is John Anderson, the coach, right? Killer?
Well, no. Al Sims was the coach.
No. But John Anderson, that coaches now, like that coached like the Chicago Wolves and
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was on Chicago Wolves for 1 season, so he was my coach. I couldn't get in the lineup. Because you know how they're like the New York Yankees of the AHL. They got all these extra players that are all making $100,000. Yeah, so I was like the guy that was on a PTO, but they had me there because I was known as one of the tougher guys in the AHL. So they just wanted to have like me around. But I didn't even get into. I did about 20 warm-ups, but didn't get into the lineup, and it was Christmas time. So they were offering me another PTO. The gentleman that was the GM of the Winnipeg Jets. I don't know why I'm not going to. Chevy was our GM, and he kept offering me all these PTOs, and I'm just like, I mean, they're paying for my apartment. They're paying me more money than I've ever made in the AHL, but I'm not getting in the lineup, Killer. And you know how, like, when you're a competitor, you want to compete. When you're a player, you need to play. I was making great money, saving even more, wasn't paying rent. Chevy's like, yeah, we'll sign you to another 25 game. That was when I first went to Quebec. That was when I just decided that I needed a change. But yeah, man, I was really impressed with some of the stories that you told me right now. Like, it's absolutely incredible. With Washington, though, now what was your living situation with the Caps?
Well, when I first got called up the first year, I stayed with Keith Jones.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this guy's hilarious. And I'll tell you this story. So I'm there about a week, right? So I'm running out of clothes. So I need to go. I went downstairs to wash clothes. So I go down there, and all I seen was this pile of blue jeans, probably about 50 pairs of blue jeans. And
really?
So after I start my wash, I go upstairs. I go, Jonesy, what's with all the blue jeans down there? He goes, Well, once I don't know how to wash. He goes, so once they're dirty, I just leave them down there and I go buy new pairs.
Wow, big wheel though, eh? Like that's a big wheel comment there.
Oh my gosh!
Holy,
you got to know Jonesy though. You got like
yeah, he's a big
no
wheel though.
care
I can tell.
factor, just Oh my gosh, it was just hilarious. So I ended up, I washed probably about 40, 50 pairs of jeans for him. So
Wow. So you had about wearing a new one every day, about 2 months worth.
yes, yeah.
Right?
So then from there I got so the next year, I made Washington, but they had the lockout.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went back and I started with Portland because that was the year after we won the Calder Cup.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so when I got
And that's the over a point per game in the AHL, over a point per game.
yeah.
I just wanted to say that again, right? And while you did over a point per game, you had a 300 penalty minute season in the American Hockey League, 292 penalty minutes. Do you remember the major total to get that? It must have been at least 25, 30 majors.
Probably,
right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
yeah.
this was in 1994, 1995. So the 2004, 2005 lockout was my third year pro. In my opinion, that was the strongest year in the AHL, where they had like 5 or 10 guys from NHL rosters, the best AHL guys. Was it the same situation in 94, 95? Was it the best league in the world that year, would you say?
Well, you know what? I would probably think so. I know they give me the option to either stay up there with Washington, but I just, like I said, after winning the Calder Cup, I mean,
yeah,
loved it in Portland. I mean, awesome. Kind of the same thing. Well, I tell you what, we had that place packed at 7,400 people for playoffs, and
wow.
it was just, like I said, I for myself too, I did. Me and Kerry Clark, my roommate, Sharky, we did every promo possible. It was just the people were fantastic. I still have a lot of good friends out there, and it was just an awesome city and an awesome fan support.
Now, I got something to add to that. I love what I just heard there. So you were doing all the promotional and charitable appearances for your team in Portland, correct? Is that what I heard?
Well, you know what? Well, especially the first year when they moved from Baltimore to Portland, right?
Okay.
So the very first game in Providence, I blew out my knee. Sharky was fighting 2 guys. He had 2 guys in his hands, and he tore his thumb, so he was out. So yeah. So once my knee got a little bit better, we went to every school. We did every promo they asked of us, and you know what? That's just the way I've always been. If there's a charity, I'll be there. Unless I can't make it, but I will be there.
Now, let me ask you this, Killer. So when you're doing these appearances, especially the charitable ones, don't you find that you met so many important people, you learned so many things, you gain just really good like positive experiences out of all that? Like,
for sure. I mean, it's you know what, like you get and I still get some nice texts from, let's say, the dentist. I did something really nice for his daughter when she was yay big, and now she remembers that.
yeah,
Just and the people that you meet, like from the businesses, the business
yeah,
side of it. Like I said, when I bought Barry Trotz started a hockey school in Portland, and I bought it off Barry. I mean, all the people that sponsored the team, now they all sponsored my hockey school. So it
so
was
the
it was
Barry Trotz,
absolutely.
the coach of the Islanders.
Yes, that was our coach when we won the Calder Cup. Yeah.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it just, like I said,
Great on.
the more, to this game, obviously, you play for championships, you play to battle, you play to put up points and all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, the relationships, not only through the players, but the fans and the business people that come to watch you play. I mean, they're so. I'm so thankful for all the relationships that I've made, not only here in North America, but all over the world. That
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely, to me, that is very gratifying with just the I guess fan base. I have my Killer Hockey clothing line, and I mean, I get more people that are older buying it than the younger kids.
Okay, so hold on. Let's talk about this clothing line.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's talk about this, Killer.
Here's the logo there. Just
oh wow.
Free. And just like I said, I sell.
What's the website? What's the website, Killer?
Killer-hockey23.com.
Killer-hockey-23.com.
Killer-hockey23.com.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. No, but I also want the listeners to know, because I know that there's some sporadic listeners that they're going to be all into this episode, and then they're going to be, on their phones while they're listening and ordering something, buddy.
Well, cool. And you know what? Like I've teamed up with a buddy who, I knew his brother. He committed suicide, and it's called Love My Mind. And so I donate proceeds with every sale that I make to Love My Mind Mental Health. So
that's fantastic.
Like I said, I think, Sheriff, as fighters, I mean, you go through a lot of stuff. I mean, my last concussion, not from a fight, from an elbow. I was on medication for probably about 2.5 years, and it was tough for me, for light, noise, all that stuff. I couldn't ride, couldn't hardly exercise, just because every time I had blood flow, my brain would just about explode. So, it means a lot to me. And, like I said, I'm always here to help people out if they have any questions. And even if it's just to listen, because I know what they're going through, and it's a tough situation. And, but like I said, there's always a positive, to help someone out, and, not only better their life, hopefully, but also to be grateful for the life that you have as well.
Yes, exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more, Killer. And I'm so happy that you said that, brother. That's absolutely fantastic. So I am a big supporter for mental health awareness. I try to use the platform on the show as much as I can for that. So that's really, really cool to hear, brother. And I'm really happy that you do that, because it's very, very important, especially with what's going on right now with this pandemic, man. We're seeing record numbers, Killer. Record numbers of domestic abuse, suicides, all that kind of stuff. All the bad stuff has elevated, right?
Right.
So
like you just said, yeah, this pandemic, whatever. But I mean, where's the pandemic of the mental health and the suicide and everything?
I know.
Else?
I know.
Like
yeah.
What we're worried about. I don't know. We're worried about getting more booster shots when we should be helping people with mental health.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I think a lot of the things like in this world right now are just absolutely bizarre. I think we're focusing on the wrong things here. I don't know. Some people talk conspiracies and this and that. I don't know what to think. All I know is that things don't seem to be making sense, and I wish that the focus would be more on mental health and that. So we're definitely on the same page now. Great, just to get back into the competitive mindset that Killer Kaminski is capable of. I want you to get back into that mentality, because what I want to ask you is but before I ask you the question, I remember playing. Remember, I got into this about 20 minutes ago, and then I think we started talking about Dale Hunter. So I remember playing, man, and looking at the schedules, and there was certain players that I'd be like, oh man, why do we have to be playing them this weekend, right? There were certain guys. Now, Killer, I know that you were that guy for your opponents. I know that you are. I know you were so hard to play against, man. You guys could not get a night off if they were playing against Kaminski. There is no way possible that they were taking the night off. They were definitely getting on the scoreboard, but it wasn't for scoring a goal. You know what I mean? If they
Right.
were playing against you. What I want to ask you is about the bucket. About your helmet, man. I want to ask you now. I think it's very interesting. A lot of guys have things that they do. You know what I mean? And you know what? Your helmet's your helmet. You're doing whatever you want to it. It's your helmet. I want to know the story behind the helmet, though.
Yeah, it was just I can't even remember where I got it from, but
Was it from a guy you played it with?
you know what? That's a good question. I can't remember where I seen it or heard about it or whatever. Someone told me about it. I can't.
You embraced it.
I got a little scalpel out and carved her up, and that was it. You know, never got caught.
That's the killer's helmet.
Like you said, there's so many guys who do different things. It's not.
Yeah.
Everyone does it to get the edge, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I know Dave. Yeah, like Dave Brown's trainer put like Vaseline all over his arm or something weird like that. So when you would try to grab that left, that big left that he had, you would just slide right off, and then
Right.
man's going to town on you, right? So
got the left buggy whip going on you.
that's like, to me, your helmet's your helmet. You can do whatever you want to your helmet. Chances are it's probably going to come off anyway. Whatever.
Right.
I think that's a cool trademark that you had, dude. Things
Yeah,
that like Dave Brown and that's, sometimes you're like, Razor. I love the guy. I look up to him so much, but I didn't like that jersey stuff. I didn't like it at all.
Right.
But I loved Razor.
Yeah,
I liked
you
it
know what?
to your helmet.
I fought him a few times, and I know I had him one time. Then he slipped out of his jersey. I probably should have just went down, but as a competitor or a fighter, you're like, I still got this, and I took a few. I'll tell you that.
So you did fight.
Nothing to grab onto, right?
You did have a couple of battles with Razor then, because I remember Rick, like, who Rick Jenneret is. This is his last year, Rick Jenneret, the announcer for the Buffalo Sabres. He's a man with a very unique voice. Oh, and Rob Ray with another right. And I remember him saying, like, and Kaminski comes back with another right hand. And, like, I just remember, man, Killer Kaminski and Rob Ray, what a battle. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I had to ask you about the helmet because, man, okay. And this is, man, it's been this long. Let's talk about Killer. Who gave you that name?
You know what? There's a few guys who, and I guess I'll start off with one. When I was playing with the Saskatoon Blazers, AAA here.
All the way back to junior, eh?
All the way back, well, AAA midget. So, a puck was kind of, was trickling into their zone. Their goalie came out to play it. I was always told to take the body, right? So he got there before I did. So he's like getting ready to shoot. So he's vulnerable. He's wide open. So I just freaking hammered him. He was cold. He had
full out.
Oh yeah, I just hammered him.
And it was a yard sale.
Yeah, yard sale, clean body check, but it was a yard sale. So. I guess Mr. Boloski, who was, he helped out with the team. I think he might have even been part owner or whatever. So he says he started calling me Killer after that. When I was 15, also that same year, I got called up to the Blades to go to Prince Albert. That's when they had Dave Manson and Baumgartner and all those guys.
No way.
I think it was Dave Manson. I fought him at center ice, and Kelly Chase or Larry DePalma started calling me Killer. So I don't know. There's a few little stories going around, but I guess you get the gist of it. So
yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
So all right, so midget AAA. That was the first time.
Yeah,
man. So you had that name that whole time because that the internet acknowledges that, right?
Right.
Like they'll have killer in quotation marks like after your name on some articles, and you know what I mean? Like that's pretty cool. That like
Yeah.
like I know like there's certain guys like the sheriff, Scott Parker, the original sheriff, special guest on the Sheriff podcast. I had to tell him, man, when people started calling me the sheriff, the first person I thought of was Mr. Scott Parker. I hope he doesn't get too upset. We never had to play against each other, but man, he's the original sheriff, right? I have to acknowledge that. He's older than me, right?
No,
So
good.
I gave him that respect, and
Yeah.
he gave me the blessing of having the name too. So I thought that was pretty cool. He
Carry
has
it over.
Yeah, fellow Saskatchewan man, John Nasty Marasti.
Yes. Yeah.
He's got it. Like the internet, they acknowledge it. They say also known as Nasty Marasti. And you're another one, brother. Killer Kaminski's recognized through and through. You should trademark it.
Yeah, no, well, like I said, it's like I said, it's been fun. I mean, like you said, all my players pretty much call me. Well, some call me coach, but most call me Killer. Like I said, even the young kids, like, so hey, Killer, how you doing today? Just yeah. I mean, it's it's part of my history, and you know what, it's been with me for since I was 15. So it's what I know as well.
It's also an honor for you though, as well, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's
pretty cool.
Like you said, like the sheriff. That's a cool nickname. The Grim Reaper.
The Grim Reaper. That's another one. That's another one.
Like I said, Nasty Marasti.
Stu Grimson.
Stu Grimson. Like I said, those Dave. What did they call Dave Manson again? They.
But like Dave
Manson.
Bob Probert, guys like that, they had nicknames, but it didn't stick to them. Like how other guys, like yourself, Killer, the Grim Reaper, yourself, Nasty Marasti, the Grim Reaper. You know what I mean? You guys, those names stuck with. So I think that's pretty phenomenal. I also liked how you just brought up the coaching in your players, because that's exactly where I want to go into right now. Because man, I've got some questions for you. I know that you had a long career in coaching, brother. I know that, like, when I missed you by 1 year, by the way, I would, like, because I started in 02-03 with Rochester Americans, and I had some great battles with those Cincinnati Mighty Ducks, man. And I know that if you coach, you were gone in like 01-02. If you had been coaching the following year, it would have been my 41 fighting majors as a 20-year-old in the AHL. And I know those games where you were behind the bench in Cincinnati would have been really. Yablonsky and the boys were all there. You guys had first round Brown. You guys had a couple of guys there. But yeah, man, I want to talk about this team that you're coaching right now first, okay? Because I did a little bit of research and I talked to a couple people. Now, I talked to a gentleman that was part of the process for bringing the kid from Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
I got to talk about this kid. I don't even know how to pronounce his name properly. Can you? Is it Alessandro?
Alejandro Aput.
Alejandro. And that's the first name or last name? And what's the last name? What's the last name?
Apud. A-P-U-D. Apud or Apud. I don't know.
Okay. Now, man, I don't think I've heard a story like this before. But what I want, before you get into it, there's a couple things that I want to point out here. I want to point out that this kid is Mexican descent through and through. That this kid, unlike Austin Matthews, is born in Mexico and raised in Mexico. Austin Matthews has Mexican descent. They try to make a thing of it, for him to be the guy. But dude, your guy is the guy. He represents the underdog. He represents the guy that's not supposed to be there, but he's there. I have heard some insane stories. One story I heard was this gentleman in training camp or wherever it was goes into the opposing dressing room and says, "Who in this room is going to give me a fighting major? I got to show the coach what I can do." That was the first intermission. No one did nothing. Second intermission, goes back to the room and says, "Did I not ask someone to give me a fighting major? Or I'm just going to go after someone and grab him. It's your guys' choice." Slams the door, goes back to his room. Is this a true story?
It is a true story. He went to the other team before
the game. The inter-squad game?
Before the game.
What was it?
In his street clothes or in his underwear, whatever it was, right? And we had our training camp in Saskatoon, and so yeah, he goes into the room and he says, "Meet me at center ice." Whatever he said, I need a fight. Who's gonna fight me tonight? So
Who's going to step up?
Holy shit, this is old school, man. Like, this is back in the 1980s. This is Broad Street bully stuff, man. I was just like, okay, cool.
So did someone give him one?
Yeah, he fought a couple times at that camp. So yeah.
But I heard he really did well in those fights.
You know what he did? Like you said, he's I tell you what, first of all, this kid is unbelievable kid, man. He does it's I shouldn't say he does every promo he can or anything he can, but obviously with the pandemic it's hard to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, this kid is first on the ice and he's like the last one off the ice, like and it's like an hour after practice. He's working on his skating, he's working on his fundamentals, man. This kid's work ethic is absolutely insane, Now,
let me add what I heard about the academic side, though. Let's talk about that. This kid is one of the smartest kids and hardest workers for studying. And I heard he's got 12 full academic scholarships already to NCAA schools. Is that true?
Yeah, he's got, I don't know how many, the exact many. My other buddy would know a lot more than me, but yeah, he's supposed to be wicked smart. I don't know the SATs, I don't know what it was, 1,500 or.
Yeah, 1,500. That's really good, man.
Yeah.
I think 1,600 is perfect.
Right. So
right?
Yeah, so I tell you what, this kid wants to improve. He wants to get better every day. You know what, he leads by example too, man. He's just he's a workhorse. And an awesome kid to boot.
So, and he's now worked his way into the lineup, and he played the 2 games before Christmas. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, it's he played very well here when we won our game here, and then I had an extra forward, so it was he didn't get as much ice time, but like I said, he's a kid that goes out and sacrifices his body and does whatever he has to do to make the team better and obviously to stay in the lineup as well. So
yeah, so the town absolutely loves this kid already.
Yeah.
Like literally, like the town I heard is in love with this kid. Like he's like the poster boy for hope, like when Obama became president in the States.
I tell you what, he like I said, we had a jersey auction with one of his jerseys, and I tell you what, man, he it was I can't remember what it was. Like it went for, everyone was bidding on it. I can't, it went high. So
yeah, I heard that he got just the same amount, or it might have been even a little bit more than the veterans or the captains. The captains of the team, his numbers were at that level for the captainship. That's what I heard for that jersey auction. Yeah.
He's I just tell you what, he's a great kid to work with. He's low maintenance, and he does a lot of stuff on his own to make himself better. And but like I said, his passion and he loves that side of the game too, but he's got some good skill as well. But he's just his work ethic, he has the ultimate work ethic, and it's obviously it's paying off, so
it's so exciting.
Quite the story.
Yeah, man. And like it's like I'm hearing stories about him bag skating himself at 6 a.m. You know what I mean? That I heard that he's got like a really cool Mexican cooking show every Tuesday?
Yeah,
Is that true?
yeah, he does.
Come on, man. He
Yeah.
has his own cooking show, killer.
Got his own cooking show right here in Laurent, Saskatchewan.
and you can see that going on your website, right?
Yeah, well, I think he had a session yesterday, and freaking well, I mean, it's minus 35 right now out here.
I
so,
can't believe that.
Yeah, I had to unfreeze a pipe after I come back from Christmas. So she is bitterly cold. I'll tell you that.
How can you go from Mexico City to minus 35 in one calendar year? That's enough to transform you. That's incredible.
I did it from Fresno, California to Laurent.
Fresno. Yes, you did.
I should have went the other way. I should be ending my career in Fresno, not
in Fresno.
Not in
yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. But I mean, it's got to be really exciting. You guys have a good record right now, right? And
well, we've had some ups and downs, but I tell you what, we played some good hockey here the last little bit, and we got ourselves back into a playoff spot, and now we're looking for the good half of the second season.
Yeah. Now, dude, about 4 hours ago, I saw the breaking news that the World Juniors are canceled. Have you heard that today?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Okay, so what do you think's gonna happen with everything else? I don't know about you guys, man, but we have record numbers over here. It's worse than it's ever been since the beginning.
Right.
As hard as that is to understand with everything that we've done.
Right.
But,
I know. That's
right. And so I'm hoping that the leagues continue. I don't know. I'm as a competitor, as a sports guy that's trying to get into the media, killer, it's so disappointing for things to get shut down, because that means that there needs to be a whole process of reopening and this, you know what I mean? It's really upsetting. And especially for a season like yours right now, and all the Cinderella stories and everything, I really hope that they see the seasons through. I know you do, being the competitor that you are.
Well, you know what, we're so far, knock on wood, that Saskatchewan is still pretty good, right?
As far as numbers go?
As far as numbers go. So,
okay, that's good.
So I guess we'll see, you know what, and now we'll see what numbers after Christmas and New Year's too, right?
Yeah.
But, so for our protocol, all the kids had to test negative before they left. They came to the rink, tested again negative, which everything is good so far. And then we had them in isolation for 2 days. And then if they test negative tomorrow morning, then we'll start practice.
That's cool. Exactly. So now, who did you guys have a meeting and came up with that yourself, or is that a league mandate thing, or?
That was just the coaches part.
So that was the coaching staff.
Yeah. All of the coaches kind of agreed on that. You know what? So like I said, everything has been so far so good.
Yeah.
You know what? Like I said, and plus with all the bitterly cold and the snow and everything.
Yeah.
We canceled our games for Friday, Saturday, just because some guys still aren't here yet. They're supposed to be here tonight, so they got to travel. So one practice isn't going to be good enough, and then get into play in Friday, Saturday. So going to we'll book those games later on in. No hitting and all that. Our season this year with injuries has been ridiculous. We've had so many man games lost this year. It's kind of disgusting, to tell you the truth.
So do you feel that that's a result of playing non-physical games, and then as soon as you do start playing, you get hurt because it's not
Yeah, I think it's just like you said, everyone I taught skill sessions in Saskatoon, and I'm like, this is boring. Can we get a bumpy
do something competitive?
Kind of thing, So it's just you know what? And there was some times where in the back rink we got to play a little 3-on-3. So the kids were absolutely pumped, you know, that they get to do a little enjoy their skill work, but also compete and battle as well for pucks and all that stuff. So, but
Yeah.
I really think, yeah, with just doing skills and all that stuff, that it has cost a lot of players a lot of injury time, just because just like in Saskatoon when we had our camp, right? It's like you're going all out, boom, boom, boom. Like
Yeah.
You're fighting, you're hitting,
Yeah.
trying to make a team in 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, like we had injuries right from the start of that training camp. We still haven't had a full roster with all the players that we thought were going to be in the lineup. Still got injuries.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great talking point there, because people are probably just wondering, why is there so many man games lost this year? It's because, man, if you're gonna have no contact for this amount of time and then go all out for, like you said, guys trying to make teams in 3 days, then that's gonna take a toll on the body. The body needs to get used to that. The body needs to be doing it, you know? And I was gonna add to your point about, you know, getting to do the 3-on-3. I think 3-on-3 down low, Killer, like that drill, 3-on-3 down low. Randy Cunnyworth was my coach for 4 years in Rochester.
Okay.
And that was his favorite go-to towards the end of practice. Okay, we've done shooting, we worked on this, we worked on that. Let's get in some 3-on-3 down low. And the guys, no, but the way Cunny ran it, it was like there would be an award for the team that would win the most like rounds, and you know, and then you know what I mean. Like he made it fun, the battle, the competition.
Right.
3-on-3 down low, guys would be like, woo! You know what I mean? Most teams would be like, oh man, you know what I mean? But we made it a battle, and I'm assuming that you try to make your practices like that as well, right?
Yeah, we try.
The coach killer.
Power play, penalty kill. We try and do competition, and whoever, whatever, whether it's a little skate or whoever doesn't skate, just kind of, you try and make it as competitive as you can in every drill, that's what it's all about.
Yes. To get back to Alejandro, because I forgot to mention this, I was also told that the player development that you and your assistant coach have been able to pull off with this team is next to it's incredible, especially Alejandro, the way that he's developed. But the other players, and man, I want to talk about Mr. Kennedy as well. What's up with this guy? He seems to be, well, he had a really good start on fire. Has he been like that lately?
You're talking about Spencer Kennedy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's playing college right now. So
is he?
But yeah. So you know what was so funny is Spencer came to us my very first year when I was here, and you know what, he's tough. Like he fought 5 times. I think he knocked 3 guys out. And he kept on wanting to do it, which I totally understand. But I go, Spencer. I said, it's coming from me. I says, I wish I would have listened to my coaches a lot more. I said, everyone knows you're tough. You're 6'4". You're not 5'9" like I was, where guys they'll fight a 5'9" guy. They're not gonna fight a 6'4" guy. I go, Spencer, you got unbelievable skills. You can he's got an unbelievable shot. He was probably one of our best passers, and so that first year, he the last month in playoffs, he was our leading scorer. He just finally it clicked, and we had our battles on the bench, like the FU battles on the bench.
Yeah.
I would give it to him and he would get, oh, F you, killer, all that shit. And I just laugh, I'm like, whatever. Hey, you're pissed. I mean, I understand. But finally it clicked. And I, I got the nicest text from him. Well, he started off hot too again the second year before we got shut down, right?
Yeah.
Then I got a really nice text from him. He says, "Oh man, killer." He says, "I wish I would have listened to you earlier."
So he's playing college now?
Yeah, he's playing out in Alberta at Portage College.
Right on. So he's
Yeah.
doing well.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's doing
Right
really
on.
well. So yeah, but he's
Yeah,
he's
buddy.
a character, man. But I tell you what, there's a kid, that tough as nails, but also he's got some unbelievable skill, and I'm glad he, that the light came on and he started using it.
Are the oh yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you, buddy, is I mean you played for the Minnesota North Stars, Quebec Nordiques, and the Washington Capitals. Which alumni is the strongest that you hear from the most? Like, is it Washington because you were there for so long, or does Minnesota and Quebec have strong alumni as well?
You know what I really I kind of follow a Minnesota page on Facebook, but I don't. No one really contacts me. Um, Nordiques used to. Maybe because I moved around, they've lost my address.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've been to obviously a few. I haven't been in a while, but I've been to a few Caps alumni games I played in, and I think I still get an email from them. So probably Washington. So
Nice. Now, I wanted to also ask you about Le Colisée. I don't know, was it called Le Pepsi Colisée? The Colisée Pepsi when you played, or was it just Colisée?
I think just the Colisée.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like that, I've heard a couple stories about playing that arena. Obviously, there's the famous Quebec City Pee Wee tournament, where the Pee Wee International tournament that a 13-year-old kid gets the opportunity to play in Le Colisée, like Mr. McMorrow did here. But like, what was it like playing and those were packed games. I don't know how they got that interest, but they're packing the games for 13-year-old kids to play in Quebec City, right?
Is that still called the SO Cup?
The Pee Wee tournament?
Yeah.
When I played in '96, it was the Quebec International Pee Wee tournament.
Okay.
Right, and so it's the big tournament in Quebec City for the Pee Wee age group, obviously.
Okay.
But
All
maybe
right.
they've changed it recently.
Yeah. No, you know what? We played in Montreal when I made Team Saskatchewan. And actually, we played against the Turgeon that went first overall.
Pierre.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Pierre.
The Buffalo.
Yep.
The Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but as a Nordique though, what was that like playing in the Colisée?
I tell you what, it was awesome. You know what, Sheriff, I loved it everywhere I played. I didn't care. It was a game of hockey that I grew up on, and I loved it, and I made the best of it everywhere I played. But I'll tell you what, the Quebecians they love their hockey, man. They're
different though, eh?
What's that?
It's different than anywhere else.
It is. I tell you what, it's good. They're crazy about hockey.
But the reason why I'm touching up on that so much, Killer, is because Quebec is the part of Canada that I believe loves the combat sports the most, right? There's boxing galas all the time in Montreal, Quebec City. George St. Pierre, he's an absolute god in that province, right? And then you got the tough guys that have played for the Nordiques, played for the Habs. They are just novelties in Quebec. They love their toughness in Quebec. Killer Kaminski playing for the Quebec Nordiques, I'm assuming they liked you in Quebec City, in the capitale.
They did. I mean, it was for my short period of time. You'd go out for dinner or whatever, and you'd always get, hey, Mr. Kaminski, how are you? So
did you go to Old Quebec a lot? Did you guys
fair amount? Yeah.
Where were you guys hanging out, man?
Well,
what hotel did you stay at when you played there? Sorry.
You know what? I stayed with Curtis Lasician a little bit, but
no way.
Whenever I got called up, I was mostly in the hotel.
Yeah, and do you remember which hotel that was? Because I lived in the city.
That was, you know what? It wasn't. It was a ways from. It was from
the Colisée.
Yeah, it was like a little. It was all fenced in. It was like a farmyard, actually.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
I can't remember what it was called, but I mean, obviously, the Dagobert was a good place, right?
Yeah, of course, man. And that's like the top place to go to in Quebec, man. Man, that's such an experience. Like people need to like, man. If anybody ever wants to go on vacation in the winter time where it's not tropical, and they just want to go and they want to go, you know, tobogganing. But remember the tubing
Yeah.
killer. There's the tubing and all the different for the carnival and man, that's some fun stuff, man. To bring your family and go on vacation and have fun in the snow.
Oh, that carnival is crazy. How big it is.
Yeah,
I can't remember what
yeah.
it was called.
I don't know, but it was Benum was like the
But now
snowman
that
was like the logo of it,
right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Benum, and then it was
Yeah.
just like just a wild carnival festival in the winter, man, where
Yeah.
people just wanted to have a good time, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, for sure. And I tell you what, I know at the Lake Colisée though, they had the best Shane shows ever.
The best.
Shane shows, hot dogs.
Oh man,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
remember the bread
Oh man,
they would
did
put
you
it
become
on.
a fan of the poutine? Poutine?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Poutine?
That was after the Dagobert.
After the Dago bar, you had the big thing of poutine, man. I know. Yeah, buddy. Trust me. You guys
Yeah.
had some tough teams in Quebec too, eh? Who are some of the guys that you played with on that Nordique team?
Well, you
Like the
had
tough guys.
Tony Twist,
Like Twister. So he was there at the same time?
Twister. Yeah. Who else, man? We had
Was
Ragland.
sorry, say that again, Killer?
Herb Ragland was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
He was a freaking pit bull, man.
So how many so you spent some time with Mr. Twist.
Well, I played with Twister in Saskatoon too.
He was wait, whoa. He was on the Blades with you?
Oh shit, we had
Come on.
Kelly Chase, Tony Twist, Big Brian Glenn, Corey Kosher, not Joey, Corey.
Was he tougher than Joey?
No one's tougher than Joey.
I know, that's what I was gonna say.
Corey kind of, you had to egg him on, but I tell you what, when he fought, man, he was freaking tough. He was tough. But he was a first rounder to Detroit, so.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so he wasn't chucking him from his ankles like his brother.
No, he wasn't. He was more of a, he was a goal scorer, playmaker. He put up points. So
Yeah. Different role.
Yeah.
Same last name, different role.
but yeah, we had tough teams in Saskatoon, I'll tell you that. So
Oh, I can't get over that. That's a really super tough NHL team. And then you're gonna bring all those guys, have them on the same junior team?
well then
That's very scary.
I think PA had Kimball and Simpson and God, who else? Gord Krupke. I mean,
Prince Albert, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Raiders, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Richard Pilon. I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. It was a war, I'll tell you.
The friggin' WHL, man. You guys are best represented for toughness in the NHL, that's for sure. Right? Like us Ontario boys, we try to do what we can do, but we just can't talk to the WHL.
Well,
Those farm boys, no way. We're not getting as tough as farm boys.
Well, they, you know what? Like I said, I think from Saskatchewan, being on the farm, I would go to the farm, my grandma and grandpa's farm, and
Oh yeah,
and pick rocks and all that stuff. But I mean,
really?
I tell you what, I mean, I think it was just from the old times growing up that you worked. If you didn't work, you didn't survive. Like
Yeah.
you were disciplined pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's just, but the other thing is though, Killer, is I just find that, like there is farming in Ontario, of course.
Yeah.
And I have cousins that have got into dairy farms and all that kind of stuff. But like, I mean, it's hard work, man. I mean, it's hard work. There's labor involved. It's honest day's work. And that's missing from a lot of the gigs today. So when a boy is exposed to that at a young age, working on daddy's farm, grandpa's farm, you know what I mean? I think that instills some pretty good character, and I think that's why there's more tough guys came from the WHL than the OHL and the Q, because of that culture of hard work and honest work.
Well, it
Turned the
could
tough
be. I
guys.
mean, like I said, it's minus. Well, go to Grandpa's. It's minus 35. You gotta go outside to go to the bathroom. You gotta use the outhouse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They never had no plumbing. Grandma would go grab a chicken, chop the head off, and there's supper. You know, we're we're milking cows. I mean, they have some machines, but you're milking some cows. Now you're separating the cream from the milk, and then you're making
Yeah.
butter on your own. I mean, everything was from scratch, man.
Wow.
It
And
was.
you spent a lot of time there?
You know what? We would go on the weekends, and say the cousins lived just down the road too. So I mean, we were same age as the cousins. So yeah, we would go. Like I said, we'd get up early, go pick rocks, and stack bales or hay and all that stuff. Like, oh gosh, yeah, it was. You know what? It was. Well, I mean, we didn't know any better. It was fun. I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah. Oh, killer, man. And the thing is like the guys, the guests that I kind of like, and when I say this, like I admire all my guests, right? But I mean, I tried to do, to be an NHL hockey player. I got a small sniff. I had to do the role in order to play at those highest levels. We all wish that we could be. I always tell people, like I love sticking up for my teammates. I love the battle killer, which I'm sure you do too. Like I'm sure you love that battle. Like that we release endorphins, bro. Like the build up, the battle, then the outfall. Like it's all part of it, man. And I lived for it. I know you did. There's no way that you didn't with these type of numbers.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this, and I had my line mate Jack Bocus, who passed away, I think, about 3 years ago. He was my line mate in Saskatoon, and he was, I think he had 100 points that year. I had 99. I missed, I don't know. I only played 52 games, I think.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe that, man.
He was in LA when I was in, or he was in LA for a long time. He was working with the Junior Kings program, coaching there. And so when I was in Fresno, we would, I would go up and visit him, and we'd get talking. He ran a camp that I would go to. It's called the Cali camp, and you get a lot of kids that are going to turn junior. So I would go up to that, and we would, after the camp, we'd sit around, watch hockey. His brother would be there, and we get talking about the Blades. And he goes, "Killer," he says, "You know what?" He says, "If you wouldn't have did all your fighting and all that stuff, you would have just had as many points as Joe Sakic used to have." Which, like I said, I guess now that I'm 52 and the way my body is, it's a mess. My shoulders, my knees, my back, my hips, everything is, it gets tough to get out of bed sometimes. And it's just like, I maybe sometimes wish I didn't like that part of the game so much when you're fighting, you're fighting Francois Leroux, or you're fighting Bob Probert, or whoever it is, right? Like that takes its toll on its body. I mean,
yeah.
But you know what? I mean, like I said, if I would have maybe played the other way, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't even have made it, because to get into a top 6 role is freaking, you got to be an elite player,
Yes.
So I guess I had, had enough skill on that side of it. When you made the NHL, my role changed a little bit. Obviously, you only get, depending on the game, you get 2 or 3 shifts a period.
Yeah.
If it's a close game in the third, if it's a 2-1 or 3-2 game, well, you ain't going to see the ice, right? So
Exactly. Yeah, they're gonna shorten the bench. Exactly,
so
which you have to do as well as a coach.
Right. No, for
right?
sure. And that's,
Yeah.
I think, I was talking with Dad the other day when I was home, and I just like, a lot of kids today don't have that mental toughness, right? Where they think they should automatically get it. You know what? And I understood, if it's a 3-2 game, I probably ain't going to be playing the rest of the period.
Oh yeah.
You know what? And I was fine with it. I got my shifts in early. I didn't get scored on. I tried to create some havoc with a big hit or a fight and do that kind of stuff, And I remember the one game we were in Florida playing the Panthers, and we were down 4-1. And obviously you want to win in Florida because you want to go out, right? Like it's beautiful out. You want to golf the next day and all that stuff. So I remember we were down 4-1 and I went and fought Paul Loss. And
Oh, man.
it was a hell of a fight. I mean, you know what? That game, it worked. We came back. We won 5-4 in overtime. And
Nice.
I remember my roommate, Pat Peak, I think he got the game-winning goal and he had another goal. And he said, I didn't win this game. Killer won this game for us. You know what? We had no life. We down 4-1. He went out and fought their toughest guy and give us life. And we came back and won it. So, to me, that's the praise that, like that means a lot to me. You don't get much ice time. You go out and you get the tables turned and your team responds. And to me, that's what it's all about, right? Like some games they need that spark. And to me, that's, like I said, I was, I guess, fortunate to have that mental side of toughness where I know I'm only gonna get some short, 2 or 3 shifts a period. So I got to go make things happen. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm I'm pumped to be in the NHL. I'm not complaining. I know my role and I'm going to go do it day in and day out.
And the reason why I appreciate that so much, Killer, and okay, so I Mike Commodore, right? He's kind of a big personality on Twitter, and I had Mike as a special guest on the show, and the time that he wasn't talking about how much of an a-hole Babcock is, right? I was telling him because we fought each other when we were in the AHL. He was in Cincinnati, okay?
Okay.
And I knew that I was only going to get 2 or 3 shifts. And the only thing on my mind, Commodore, I looked at the stat pack. Commodore's the biggest guy. He's got the most PIMs. First round Brown wasn't in the lineup. Yablonski wasn't there till the next year. And I was like, I got to go after Commodore. I'm probably going to get maybe 2 in the first, 1 in the second. So I got to do it like now. I got to try. If he's out there, I'm going to just say, let's go. Right? So I appreciate what you just said, man, because people don't realize that when we played, sometimes there was you're a little bit of a different story, my friend, getting like a point per game in the American League, but you're talking about the NHL time when you knew that your time was going to be limited, right? That's what you're referring to? And
yeah.
That's what I...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and like, so even in the AHL or IHL, right? Like, I mean, I want to put up my points, but like I said, I'm fighting. Like, I don't care who it is. I'm going to go find it. And then if you beat me up, well, I'm coming to find you again until I win. That's my mentality that I had. Like, I hated to lose at anything. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's freaking just fun street hockey game, I'd freaking get pissed if we lost. Whether it's freaking cards, I'm like pissed. I mean, whatever. Like, I wanted to win at everything. And like I said, in hockey, like I said, I was so passionate. My life it was my life. And to, like I said, to lose a fight, as soon as we're coming out of the penalty box, we're effing going again. What? I'm going until I win.
Yeah, I love it, man.
That's my mentality. Like, I'm only 5'9", but I don't give a shit. I'm coming at you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get you one way or the other. So you better keep your head up,
You're either going to force them to fight by running everything in sight, or you're just going to go after their best player.
There you go.
Right? Start cross-checking them. Well, your tough guy's not doing anything, so I'm going to keep doing this until someone stops me. Right. I'm going to abuse you every shift until that guy comes off, and you'll be saying it so dude can hear it. Right?
Oh, exactly. And I think a lot of, someone, was it Thornton who mentioned, I think we had some good battles there in Cape Breton when I was in Halifax. Like I said, it was like I don't know, I guess an energized bunny, man. I'm going to score goals. I'm going to make plays, and I'm going to hit. I'm going to fight.
You're talking about Scott Thornton?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. He's a big fan of yours.
He's a big, tough dude, man. He played the game hard. You know what? He was, he got his points and all that stuff too. I mean, those are the battles that you look back at now. Like, there's a guy I kind of forgot, right? It's been, I don't know how many years, 30 some odd years or whatever. I mean, he was a competitor too,
Yeah, buddy. 100%.
But I'm going to win.
Now, do you feel that it's possible to transfer this competitive passion to the boys that you're coaching now? Is it difficult to do it as a player, as a guy that played so long, now you're coaching, trying to get them to understand that if the mentality is the same as Fort Wayne, that you guys could win everything, man?
It is.
Is it hard?
Like I said, I think these last 5 games that we won in a row, something clicked. It's just like we've been telling them, like, freaking whatever it takes, freaking balls on the line, sacrifice your body, and like I said, we're a hell of a team. Like when we like I said, we can be here against the good teams. We beat all the good teams, or we can be here. You know what? It's just like we need a steady climb, and that's what we had the last 5 games. And everyone bought in, and that's what you try and do. You want to get everyone on the same page. If you got one guy off that page, it ain't going to work. You need everyone on that same page, and the guys are, the execution has gotten so much better. I mean, D-zone coverage has gotten so much better. Our special teams have gotten so much better in the last 5 games, and just like I said, when you look at our goal difference, I mean, compared to the last 5 games and that compared to before, it's night and day, and like I said, I want you got guys who have the offensive instincts that cheat a little bit, but that's fine. You know what I mean? But I always say, just don't get scored on. You know what?
Yeah.
Take care of your own zone first, man. Be a good 200-foot player, but you know what? Those guys, you got to give a little leeway, right? I mean, they know when they can roll, like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
you know that by playing with, I mean, you played with guys like Peter Bondra and like you know what I mean? Like that there's certain players that have kind of a pass, like, because they could do special things, right? So you got to let them.
Sure. Peter, all you got to do, Pavanka, he would just throw in some passes in behind their D, and frick, the way Peter skates, he's gone. Bonsai's gone, man. You know what? He's winning that race to that puck. That's just
that was his name.
Bonsai, yeah.
Bonsai,
yeah. I'll tell you what.
When was the last time you said that?
Oh gosh, it's been a while. Probably since I've seen him at the alumni game.
Oh yeah, great guy or what?
He's an awesome dude.
Peter Bondra.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tell you what, that guy could pick corners, man. I never seen so many goals off the post and in, man. Frick, he could shoot. He could shoot, and I tell you what, I'll tell you what. This story, I remember I got put on their line, right? I got put on Pavanka and Bonder's line for the weekend, and I tell you what, we lost both games, whatever, and we got bag skated.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh, these guys are like
skate with them.
Those, yeah, like, so we're doing all these lines, we're getting bag skated, man, and Peter and Pavanka are like unbelievable elite skaters, like so smooth, like it's like, and here's me in quicksand trying to keep up with these guys, man. What a bad time to be on their line.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. How what were you like? Did you find some like inner joy seeing the Caps win the cup recently, just because you were part of that organization for so long?
Yeah, I did. It was absolutely phenomenal. Now, I don't know if I was happier for them beating Pittsburgh or them winning the cup, because all my time that I was there, we lost out to the Penguins.
Well, Super Mario was there, right? And Yager.
We had them down 3-1 too.
No way. So they're one of those 4 teams that have come back from a 3-1 deficit And
Yeah.
Montreal was one of those other teams last season against Toronto.
Man. Yeah, I thought finally we were going to win. But I thought, well, you know what's cool? Because, well, Barry Trotz, who coached us in Portland when we won the Calder Cup, he was coaching there. So I was so pumped for Barry to
Oh, yeah.
to see him, hoist that Stanley Cup. And then, like I said, a lot of the trainers that were there got to see them hoist the cup too. And so, yeah, it was pretty cool. And you know what? I'm a big fan of Ovechkin's and Backstrom's.
Yeah.
Ovi plays, Trotzy got him to play 200 feet, but Ovi's a machine, man.
He plays the right way, doesn't he?
Oh, fuck. I tell you what, he fucking hits like a truck. And but his shot is phenomenal.
Just to add to the hitting, I saw this stat where it was the top 5 goal scorers in the past like 5 years or whatever. So, you got Ovechkin, Crosby's on the list, like all these other guys, elite goal scorers. But so they had the goal amount and then the hit amount for the season. Ovechkin has 5 times the amount of hits than all the other players put together.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I tell you what, when he hits, man, he freaking he hits to hurt.
Yeah, he wants all the smoke, buddy. He wants it. He's a competitor, eh? Wow.
Obviously he can chuck him too with his with that fight from Carolina, Svechnikov or whatever his name.
Yeah.
See you later, done. He wants the belt too.
Yeah, bro. I mean, what does he say? I follow him too. The Russian machine never gets tired.
Right?
Stuff like that. The
yeah.
Russian machine never stops.
Oh,
right?
God. Yeah. I follow him too. So.
Yeah, I know. I was very happy to see Ovi win the cup. I'm a big Alex Ovechkin fan as well. I love how he plays the game. I mean, I just wish that he was more the poster boy for the NHL than other guys, because I really like Ovechkin's character, his drive, his passion. You know what I mean? They want other guys to be poster boys that don't have those type of things, right? So, yeah, man, I was glad he won the cup. And then he could say that he's a Stanley Cup champion, right? The guy's going to beat Gretzky's record too, man.
I think he will.
He's going to beat it. How many seasons? And he's still playing at an elite level, man.
Right?
Yeah, he's like LeBron James. He's old, but he's still top of the league.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what do you say? What do you say to a guy like that? He's gonna play, but Killer, I know, man, I'm such a big fan, so I know I've been a little bit selfish with the time. Yeah, I know you've stayed way longer than we at first had talked about. And dude, I had so much fun in this episode. Before we go, I just wanted to talk about your clothing line one more time. Do you think you can hold that up? Can you tell people that live in the surrounding area where the arena is, how you get to see some of your team play? I got to plug all your things right now. So right now we're looking at, if you could just hold it up one more time. So right now, because we do have the YouTube channel, we're holding up the Killer Hockey Clothing Line. Killer Hockey Clothing Line. And let's say the website one more time for them, Killer.
Killer-hockey23.com.
Yes. So
I'll send you the link to Love My Mind too, the mental health.
Yes, I really appreciate that
for the donations that I send to. So yeah, like I said, try and help any not only kids, people as well that are going through hard times.
Yes, and it's so important, especially right now, brother. Quick plug on the golf tournament. When is it this year?
Well, it'll probably be. We usually have it August long weekend. Now. Okay. We haven't had it in a few years because of
this
pandemic,
problem.
COVID. I hate to say the word COVID, but it's just we haven't had it in a few years. But I you know what? I'll tell you one. My biggest. So it's only a 9-hole course in Churchbridge. I flew in the Hanson brothers when I was with Washington.
No way.
Like they
all
Hanson
came.
Brothers.
Huh? They all came. All 3 of them.
Yeah, I tell you what. So it was a 2-day tournament, Saturday, Sunday. We had 251 golfers on a 9-hole course.
You
It was
guys,
it was a freaking mess, man. It was what a time that was. It was freaking. I tell you what, the 5th hole, we had a little bar at the 5th hole, and we had music blaring. That's where like people like. That's where everyone just partied for the longest time. Like, oh, you go ahead. You guys can tee off next. We're good, you know. And then it was just they were, you know, what's so funny because when they came, they went upstairs to the hotel, right? They had rooms upstairs, and the stairs are like straight up. Then you got to go through a little hole, right, to get up to the top where the rooms are. And so I think it was Steve went up first, and he looked back underneath down the hole. He says, "Boys, this one's going to be for the books right here." And oh my gosh, everyone started laughing. And then, so I go to pick them up, whatever, to come over to Mom and Dad's place for pierogies and that. Well, you can't even tell them apart. They've got, you know, everyone has a mullet back in Churchbridge, right? So they just fit right in at the bar's called The Bar back then. And
Really?
they fit like, oh my gosh, they fit right in. You couldn't even tell them apart.
wow, buddy.
Yeah, I was that golf tournament. I mean, still people still talk about it, you know. So
Yeah, so hopefully things can settle down a bit and we can have our killer charity golf tournament.
yeah, because you know what, my main goal too is to I'd like to get to $500,000 that I raised for the community. So that's
Wow.
my goal. I mean, you know what, we did raise the money we played the 2 neutral site games. I think they raised 18,000 the first year, and then I think it was 6,000 this year. So yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's the community is, I can't say enough about the community, the support they give me for my golf tournament, and the 2 games that we played there so far. Just awesome people that you know, I wouldn't think I would have this much support after being, you know, not playing since 2000, you know. So
Yeah, but dude, I mean, what you have to understand is that you represent a player that doesn't exist anymore. Okay? A guy that is known for his toughness, but can also put up a point per game at the pro level. And dude, like it's very unique what you did, Killer. And I think that people appreciate that now because hockey's not played the same way anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like those guys that played in your prime, I think that we appreciate that more. And you're at the top of the list, buddy. So I mean, buddy, Wikipedia says about you, you're the most prominent tough guy of the 1990s. So a guy that can hold that title, people are going to appreciate you. I appreciate you. I want to thank you for the way that you played. I want to thank you for the fact that you're coaching now and that you're instilling this passion and this sportsmanship in your players right now. And I just want to thank you for being you, Killer. I've always been a fan, buddy. I really appreciate you coming on. I know the listeners have been really looking forward to this. As soon as we announced it, we got a lot of attention. A lot of people love you. You got a lot of supporters out there, my man.
well, thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate that. I really
No
appreciate
problem,
it.
buddy. Now, last thing here. I gotta ask you about this sleeve. I've been staring at it the whole time. What do you got going on in your arm here, man? What's going on? It looks really cool.
Yeah, I got. I was when I was coaching in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I decided to go with the 3 NHL teams. So obviously, I got Minnesota.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I got the Caps.
Oh man.
And then I got then I got the eagle, the other eagle, the Caps logo.
Yeah.
All the way
Look
around.
at that.
And then I got Les Nordiques.
Les Nordiques. Oh,
And
who did that?
I've got the
Who
number
did
in
that?
the Capitol building.
Oh man, that is really cool. When did you get that present? In Louisiana?
That was probably about 8 years ago now.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah,
Man.
7 years ago or so.
I can't get over that, man. Like
Yeah,
what it was because you had your arm like this, so I could see the North Star sign, but I didn't know it was the North Star sign. I just knew it looked really cool, and I had to ask you about it. Sure, glad I
Yeah.
did. That's
No,
fantastic, man.
he did a really good piece on it. So
Yeah.
I
And then
love
can you
tattoos. I
hold
want to get
up?
more, but what's that?
Can you hold up that shirt that you're wearing to show the logo of your current team?
You bet. You bet.
Yeah. The head coach of the La Ronge. Now how do you pronounce La Ronge? Am I saying it right?
LaRange.
La Ronge.
Yeah.
Just sounds like a tough place to play in. And look
Oh,
at that logo, man. It's
yeah.
got some, and then of course the same logo is the picture in the background, right? The wolf
Yeah.
and the hockey stick.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know why. I'm just loving the things that I'm looking at right now. Do you know the creator of that logo?
I don't. I don't.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if Killer Kaminski will agree to a part two, that is one of the things that I want to know when we do this. Are you interested in something like that, Killer? I know I'm
I
putting you
would
on the
love to be.
spot.
I would love to be back on your show, Sheriff.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it, buddy. Okay,
Yeah.
man. I'm just being a fan right now, asking you all these questions. I know the listeners want to hear it too, but I know it's probably a little bit annoying because there's a big fan in me too, Killer.
This is a blast, man. I enjoy your time and what you podcast guys do. I mean, to keep that history and that part of the game, still to let the fans be aware of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, that
Yes.
now that we're getting older, like, so the guys that watch me, I mean, they're there, but they're a lot older and they're starting to tail off. And
Exactly. I believe the era needs to be celebrated, Killer. I believe, you know what I mean, that I mean, although we've learned more things, concussions, all this kind of stuff, like, we've learned about all that stuff. I just wish that the NHL, like, I wish they went a way different than the way that they did. I wish that players like you were protected more, Killer. I wish that instead of just leaving them out to the wolves just because they're the toughest guys and we're going to invite this guy and this guy and this guy to training camp and we're going to let them fight it out in training camp, and then the top two guys we're going to keep, and we're just going to let them fight and deal with their injuries, and because we know they're tough. That's the way it was, Killer. There wasn't anyone there to overlook the guys that did that role. There wasn't. And I'm going to do this very quickly because this is the most prominent tough guy of the 1990s that I have right now. So just real quickly. Now, I believe, playing at all the highest levels in hockey, all the different coaches there are, especially in the NHL and AHL level. Okay, you got the head coach, you got all the associate coaches, assistant coaches. Then you got the power play guys, the special teams. Some teams definitely have a power skating coach. A lot of the teams will have a face-off coach, coach, goalie coach, all this. Well, there was two tough guys on most rosters in the 90s and the 2000s, okay? Sometimes three, that were the fan favorites, that sold the most tickets, were most likely the man of the year guys, the guys that would go to all the promotional and charitable, appearances, the good guys, the guys that the fans wanted to have that pint with at the bar, okay? So you had a guy like that, 2, 3 guys, but there was no coach for them, Killer. There was no one to oversee them. There was no one to teach them how to hold their hands so they didn't break their hand. There was no one to tell them a better way to, break your fall so you don't hurt so much if you lose the fight. There was no one to say to the coaches, look, this guy, I know that something's wrong with his head. Maybe we need to sit him out. Maybe we need to send him down. Maybe he's not made for this. They should have had someone to help out. What about implementing a rule that once you hit 5 majors, then you qualified for a special insurance because you were sacrificing your body more than another guy in the roster. So now you qualify for that insurance. I think there's different ways that the NHL and AHL could have went about things, and that they wouldn't be having hundreds of players suing them and doing this and doing that just because they didn't do anything for them at that time. And guys are mad. Guys know that teams knew that they had concussions and they just put them in games and didn't help them and had no care for them. And that's why some of these players are fighting back and suing and all this kind of stuff. I just wish things were done differently. I wish they would put some of those rules in now.
Well, yeah, it's I think it was back then. go home, take 2 aspirins, have a good shit, and call me in the morning. That was the
Yeah.
right. That was
Yeah.
about it. I mean, see how you feel in the morning. You know, so I don't know. It's just, I mean, you know what, I guess we chose the life we chose, but I mean, it is, it's tough on the body. It's tough mentally. But, you know, like I said, we enjoyed it at the time, made a decent living. You know, but yeah, I mean, I mean, I think now with the concussion protocols is a lot better. You know, I think some of the equipment, the hard plastic of the elbow pads and all that, that's got to go.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yep.
like, I mean, holy smokes. I mean, and that's how, you know, that was my last concussion, was an elbow to the head, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like I said, why back in the day we just used foam, you know, like,
I know.
why
Yeah.
why
I don't
can't
know.
you make a piece of foam that's not going to be freaking rock solid hard plastic? I mean, that should be a no-brainer right there.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I
even
hear you, man. We got
even
some
the
interesting,
shoulders.
yeah, we got some interesting things that we've said at the end here for a part 2. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And thank you, bro, for sticking in with this for me, because it like I said, it's a really big deal. I'm a really big fan. Listeners have been looking forward to a long time. So I want to thank the listeners again for tuning in to another episode of The Sheriff, featuring special guest Killer Kevin Kaminski, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you again for coming on, my friend.
Well, Sheriff, I want to thank all the listeners too. Without you guys and the fans, I mean, we wouldn't have jobs, right? So this is, you know, anytime I do this, I try and tell some stories and about what the years playing and coaching, and hopefully someone can, you know, enjoy listening to it and what it was like. You know, like you said, I wasn't even supposed to play in the NHL. I wasn't supposed to get drafted, and you know what? You know, I just knew in myself I was going to get there one way or the other, and that's what it's all about. But like I said, the listeners and the fans are a huge part of my, I guess, my process and my, you know, record, or I guess, what am I looking for? I'm looking for my success.
Your success.
If it wasn't for them, like you said, like all those promos and all that stuff that
Yeah.
people have to meet, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be that. Like I said, that's a big part of the game. Whether you're playing in Rochester or Philadelphia, they're ruthless there. I mean, they might hate you, but you know what? That's part of the game. I love that part. I love going to Philly. I love going to New York Rangers. You know what? Just to get some abuse and give it back to the fans. It was awesome.
Oh, I know, buddy. That's so awesome. Yeah, guys. So we're gonna sign off here. Woo!